Today, we're going to explore a story from a perspective you've probably never even considered. We're not hearing from a historian or a poet or a pilgrim. Nope. Our narrator today is a single, forgotten speck of dust. So, the story kicks off with an idea that I'm sure sounds familiar to many of you. It's this beautiful belief that the divine, that God, is in everything, all the way down to the tiniest particle, the smallest speck. But here's where our story takes a turn. It asks this really powerful question. What about the particle that was right there, on the edge of becoming divine, but it broke off just a moment too soon? What happens to that speck? And that's where our journey really begins. To really get this, we've got to go back, way back, before any carving, before the fall, back to a time when everything was whole and everything was peaceful. You have to imagine it. Our little narrator was part of something huge, something ancient and whole. It was connected to thousands and thousands of other particles, all together on a mountain peak. There was this deep, quiet calm, a feeling of being totally complete. And there was this incredible sense of a shared destiny. This wasn't just any old rock. It was chosen for something special, something noble. They were all going to become something greater. You could feel this pride surging through all of them, like they were one body, ready for a sacred purpose. And that brings us to the moment, that one critical instant, the single action that would end up creating two completely opposite destinies. So, picture this. An artist's hand appears. The chisel is raised high. There's one strike, and then another. And on that second hit, crack. Our narrator breaks away. In a single instant, absolutely everything changes. And this is the tragedy of it all, isn't it? It was a razor-thin margin. We're talking millimeters. Just a few millimeters more, and it would have been part of a divine form. But it wasn't. Instead, it just fell. And this fall wasn't just physical. The second it hit the ground, it was no longer seen as part of a sacred mission. It was immediately redefined. It became waste. Just something to be swept aside, forgotten. So from that one tiny moment, two completely different paths shoot off in opposite directions. Two fates born from the exact same stone. I mean, the difference is just staggering. The main part of the stone, it was carefully, lovingly shaped into an idol, given a face, eyes, hands. Divinity was carved into its every line. And the speck, its own sibling particle, it was just left on the doorstep to be swept away and crushed underfoot. And the idol, now known to the world as Ram Lalla, receives just immense devotion. Millions of people bow before it, lamps are lit for it, prayers and songs fill the air. It is the absolute center of worship. And meanwhile, from that same temple threshold, our little speck watches it all. It sees the flowers, it hears the chants, but it remains completely unseen. A silent, forgotten observer of the glory it was almost a part of. So let's just break it down. They have a shared origin, but their lives couldn't be more divided. One is treated as a god, the other is dismissed as dust. One is worshipped, the other is ignored. One has a divine destiny, the other is just discarded. And this really brings us to the heart of the speck's story. All those unresolved feelings and the really big questions that are just lingering there on the temple floor. This is what it all boils down to. Was its only mistake breaking a split second too early? Can destiny really be that random, that cruel? That one single moment defined its entire existence, separating the divine from the dust. And now the story turns and speaks directly to us, to you and me. It makes a personal appeal, and it's asking us to become a part of its story. And the request? It's so incredibly simple, but it's also so profound. It says, when you go to see the idol, when you're there surrounded by all that glory and prayer, just for a second, look down. Acknowledge the dust on the threshold. You might just see the forgotten speck that almost became God. The story doesn't wrap things up with a neat little bow. It leaves us with the speck's haunting questions. Who's to blame for all this? Was it my own fault for being fragile? Was it the sculptor's hand? Was it Ram? Or was it the other particles, its own brothers and sisters, who now make up the idol? A powerful thought to leave you with.